What is up, Yu-Gi-Oh players? This is the RJB0 coming at you on this rainy Wednesday evening, and as promised, it is time for another not quite tier 1 deck review. So this week, I tested Six Samurai, and then after about a day of testing Six Samurai, I realized that I hate Six Samurai, and I'm not going to do a deck review on Six Samurai, at least until the structure deck comes out for them, and hopefully the playstyle will change a little bit. Instead, I am going to be doing a deck review on the thing that you were probably expecting considering the title of the video, which was ninjas. So, up until this week, I considered ninjas to be an incredibly boring deck. I thought they were very autopilot. I thought that the idea was you just, summon Hanzo. Whoa, the lighting in this video is weird. There we are. You summon Hanzo, and then you get your Super Trans, and then you Super Trans into White Dragon Ninja, and it was just obnoxious, and I didn't like it. And then I actually played it and discovered that it was a lot more fun than that. So let's get down to the deck review. First, let's start on a positive note. What's good about the deck? Well, it's actually got a really good matchup against the control meta right now. The three of the most important decks right now, Hero, Inzektor, and of course Rabbit. This deck has a very good matchup against. Heroes. Heroes are also a control deck, and I often found that with the ability to use things like Valor on Stratos and Super Trans when they finally actually got their plays going, it's really effective. And it was against Inzektor and Rabbits, I saw the same thing. I saw that this deck has enough outs for everything they do, that you eventually run them out of plays, and then you start dominating them with things like White Dragon Ninja, which is a very good card, especially with the luck involving safezone. In the games I played against Rabbit, I found that they would summon Rabbit, and I would Valor the Rabbit, and then I would kill the Rabbit next turn, set my traps, and the next turn they'd try to go for Rabbit, or they'd try to go for Tour Guide, and I'd capitalize off that play using Super Trans. Or I would just make sure that they couldn't get their plays going properly. And that was really great. I think a lot of my games I ended up with, 4 or more cards advantage over the Rabbit deck with about 3,000 life points left. It was... They didn't have a whole lot of issues with Rabbit. So what wasn't so good about the deck? Why isn't it tier 1? Well, because the deck was so built against the current control meta, it has issues with the current aggro meta. Things like Dark World and Dragons. 2 decks that this deck has major issues with. Not to mention Decree being a problem for this deck. And Decree is very popular right now because of Chain Burn. And Decree takes away all your traps, which is essentially how you work the deck. So what can you do against that? Decree, of course, you can just side in that 3rd MST. That's just about all you can do right now. I suppose you could actually use double Cyclone in the deck for those, dead used up Super Transes, or the dead Super Trans or whatever, or Safe Zone to, capitalize off of that because you can get a plus by killing their monster. But that's basically what you're going to have to do against Decree, and hope that you can get rid of it as soon as it happens. Against Dragon, I think siding Max C is going to be very helpful, and getting in the early Super Trans against the Darkness Metal is going to be very crucial. Now, Dark Worlds are going to be the deck that you have the most issue siding against, because they can take out all your back row plays before you can do a whole lot with them, before they really destroy your field before they commit to their own. And that's what's the problem with this deck in Dark World. So what you can do against Dark World is side in DD Crows. DD Crows are very effective against Dark World with this deck, even if they are siding Trance Archfiend. I believe, I'm going to look this up, if you will excuse me, Trance Archfiend has to be destroyed in order to use its effect. So I believe, let's see, my computer stupid. So Super Trance can actually solve that. So DD Crow is effective against the Dark World matchup. Oh god. I'm about to get called out on this. Yep, it has to be destroyed in order to use its effect. So DD Crow can be effective. So that side decking of Trance Archfiend by the Dark World player is going to be a lot less effective against this deck because of Super Trance. Next, we have Gemini Imps. Gemini Imp is going to be a crucial side deck against Dark World because Drag Down and Mind Control are painful for this deck, because the second you get this Super Trans in your hand and they go for the Mind Crush, sorry, did I say Mind Control? The Mind Crush, you're going to be in trouble. But Gemini Imps can stop that move. And, you know, that's good, and you get to draw draw an extra card from it. So those are probably going to be your most effective things against Dark World. I also found that Ninjitsu Art of Rust Mist was helpful against Dark World once I got the lock with White Dragon Ninja. And that brings me to my next problem with the deck, which is that though White Dragon Ninja is probably the best card, or the best monster of the deck, the most powerful monster of the deck, it also happens to be the deadest of dead draws, which is a huge issue, because this deck doesn't run things that discard monsters. You can't, if you draw into that White Dragon Ninja, it's going to be clogging your hand, and you're not going to be able to get anything off of it. Which brings me, in turn, to my favorite techs of the week. Now, I didn't run, in my favorite form, I didn't run tour guides, which are a popular choice for the deck, and yes, it is good. But I discovered that instead of running tour guides, it can be very helpful to run Flame Armor Ninja. I think only like one or two, and then instead of the second White Dragon Ninja, which is why this is relevant to White Dragon Ninja being a problem, you run Interplanetary Purpley Thorny Dragon, which is very consistent as a card. It's always relevant to the gameplay of the deck, because you're always going to be needing to recover from your monsters being destroyed. And in combination with Flame Armor Ninja, can create two of the most powerful Ixies in the game right now, Tiras and Adrius. So that's another. Those are two of my favorite techs of the week. My other favorite tech of the week, sorry, can't talk today, was Magic Planter. This was what I was talking about when I talked about getting major pluses off of your trap cards. Super Trans already is a +1. It takes away your monster, yes, but it also takes away your opponent's monster and creates a larger monster. But combined with Super Trans, once that monster leaves, or not Super Trans, Magic Planter, once that monster leaves the field, you can use up the spent Super Trans to draw 2 cards with Magic Planter, giving you the +1. It's also effective with Safe Zone, which is one of my favorite cards of the deck, especially against Inzektor, because you can activate that Safe Zone, like when they try to kill it. This is also effective against Judgment Dragon. But you can also activate Safe Zone, use it on their monster, and then sack Safe Zone to draw 2 cards with Magic Planter, which again gets you the +1 because of Safe Zones destroying the opponent's monster. So there you go. That's my review on ninjas. Let me know if I missed anything, have some discussion in the comments below, and I will be doing another deck review next week. Until then, if it ain't broke, make it broke.